Can you hear me now? Army, speak so I can. Okay, let's get back to this one. This is just a quick, short one, but I love the fact that this guy's probably as old as I out there showing kicking techniques, and I do love his old jersey. And then we'll do a quick review of the types of kicks. Old school socks, old school boots, old school. What do you think? When he was a younger rugby player, what do you think? He probably dominated the field, huh?
Probably.
All right. You kick high to gain ground. All right, so we're done with that particular one. Gotta love this particular video. Over half it deals with the Coca-Cola Gilbert ball.
Congratulations on winning your exclusive Coca-Cola Gilbert rugby ball. Now we're going to have a bit of fun, and we're going to look at the punt kick. And here's 3 quick steps. You have one hand to the bottom of the ball, the other hand to the top of the ball. As we release our hands, our kicking foot comes through in a straight line with a pointed toe. So behind me, we've got an easy punting practice, which you can do with a mate anywhere you can find some space. All we need to do is focus on accuracy of the kick. Once we improve our accuracy, we can then make the distance of the kick longer. So the hands come away from the ball, with our body weight moving to the ball, and connection with a pointed toe at the base of the ball. We'll show you a couple of things with the punt kick. Go away, find some space, keep practicing, and enjoy your rugby.
Do you got your phone with you?
I don't.
Okay.
You need me to get it?
No, I got mine right here. Josh is trying to get on. Denton, is it the son Chad and the boss the dad Josh, or is it the other way around?
I don't know.
Your teammate, is he Chad or is he Josh?
Josh.
What?
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is a really good one, but it's really long, but we can certainly start it because it actually talks about all the different ways that you kick in the sport of rugby.
Goal kicking, box kicking, punt kicking, drop kicking, baby kicking, kicking and screaming, kicking children out the house. There are many different types of kicking, and the Rugby World Cup has brought to the forefront the importance of kicking in rugby. So strap in, warm up your calves, quads and hamstrings, as I, your professor, discuss the role of kicking in rugby. So first up, the history. Kicking in rugby has been a part of it since its initial inception, with the game allegedly being originally formed from football, and so it has had a prominent role in the sport and has crossed over to rugby sister sports like rugby league and American football, with it being equally crucial as a tactical weapon for both sports. So let's discuss the different types of kicking, how they're done, why they're done, and how effective they are when they're done. First up, goal kicking. Now, goal kicking was my favourite bit about rugby. I don't know if any of you guys know this, but I'm an international goal kicker myself. Oh, you didn't know? My God. Well, I was 100%, 2 from 2. One of the few international 100% goal kickers in the world. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a young man, there was just something aesthetically pleasing about seeing the ball sail through the ball. And I used to go into my garden to try and emulate my first love in terms of goal kicking, the man, the myth, the legend, Neil Jenkins. I loved him. The ginger hair, the hairline, the fact he always cleaned the mud off his boots before every kick. He was the bomb. My dad had a videotape of the Lions tour of South Africa in 2009, and Neil Jenkins was one of the main stars of that tour for his goal kicking. Furthermore, he was the person who introduced me to the concept of goal kicking being a massive weapon for teams to rack up points, as with the game being as complex as it is, there are bound to be infringements from teams trying to gain an edge in our wonderful sport. Meaning having a decent goal kicker is something that is extremely valuable to teams and coaches. The ability to say to your opposition, if you give a penalty away on your own half, we will get 3 points. That's powerful stuff. And as my knowledge of rugby and its history grew, I began to see that Neil Jenkins wasn't the only man of this talent. Gareth Hastings, Rob Andrew, Phil Bennett, Barry John all blew my little child mind. And then I discovered my ultimate childhood hero, and the man who, if I met in person, I would probably melt, Johnny Wilkinson. So you know how I talked about how Neil Jenkins introduced me to the concept of being a goal-kicking machine, who wins his team games? Well, Neil Jenkins, in terms of being a goal-kicking machine, is kind of like a PlayStation 2 solid gaming console. Got some really good games on there, like Rugby Away, which on an unrelated...
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day, and Grammarly makes my writing better.
As a student, I like that it's free. Actually, is correcting everything as I'm writing it.
Grammar errors, spelling errors, and even helps me find the
No,
right
skip the ad.
so I can say what I
Oh,
want.
thank you.
It catches all those embarrassing little...
You don't want to worry about Grammarly?
I've seen enough YouTube ads.
Johnny Wilkinson was like a PS4 VR experience, which was released way before its time, like in an era where people were still trying to come up with the technology for a PS3. Johnny just came in and whipped out his PS4. And I feel like this metaphor has got away from me slightly. Anyway, Johnny Wilkinson's 2 to 3 year era of dominance at the international stage showed the real value of goal kicking as a way to win games.
He would, Johnny Wilkinson would actually, after every practice, visualize making kicks, making goal
You have
kicks.
your accuracy guys and your power guys. For example, of accuracy guys, think of the most boring 10 you can think of, then him. It's him, you're Stephen Milers. Who else can I throw under the bus? I'll just leave it there, actually. And Johnny Wilkinson and Neil Jenkins fall into this category as well. Very accurate from basically anywhere within 40 meters. And then you've got your power guys, your Elliot Daly's, your Francois Staines, men with such quadrant foot strength that they get their kicks from their own 10-meter line, which is a massive weapon and a major point of difference in your team. But unfortunately for these guys, they are very rarely the main goal kicker for their team. And the reason for this is that these guys are actually so powerful, it's quite hard to be accurate when the ball literally just flies off your foot at the speed of light. Although I feel like someone just needs to take a chance on these guys and get them used to kicking the closer ones. And then we'll have the PS5 Elite Pro Turbo boost of goal kickers. But it's easier said than done. And it's another reason long-distance kickers find it hard to kick up close is their technique and choice of kicking tee. Now, there are a few different types of kicker tees in the rugby world, in my opinion. The ones that are really low for more accuracy, the midway ones where you have the power and also a bit of accuracy, and the big, tall, boomy ones. And of course, how could I forget the old school cones? First, the really low ones, used by your Johnny Wilkinsons, your Charlie Hodgsons, points machines, and accurate. The reason they use this tee is because with the lower tee, there's more contact time with the ball in an area where you can control it. Furthermore, it
You hear
allows
about
you to
the
place ball in a
the
position
time of
that makes it
contact is
impossible
very
to miss at
important.
close range. The downside, it really limits the distance you can put on the ball. I don't care how powerful you are. If you're kicking the ball from this low, your max is around 50 meters, and that's pushing it and being very generous. Next up, let's talk about the big, tall, boomy ones, the exact opposite of the low ones, used by the Dailies, the Staines, to make sure you can get as much force through the ball as you can, at an angle where the ball will just fly and fly and fly. This kind of tee is also used by Owen Farrell, which initially I thought was weird until I ended up using this tee when I played for Jamaica.
All right, Chad, see you.
I realized that this type of tee can be useful for
And
close range
Ollie.
if you don't hit the ball that hard and just focus
Okay.
on accuracy. Just
I can see you, Chad. I see you, Ollie. I'm going to turn off the screen,
Use it is when you have to kick across
or I'm going to unshare.
for example, if you're a right
Oh,
foot,
there you
right side. It's
No.
hard
Act like I've never done a Zoom before.
I know.
to get less contact time with the ball, especially when you compare it to the low kicking tee. This type of kick is harder anyway, but yeah, with this tee it adds an extra layer of difficulty. Which
All right,
is why people
give me a second to take care of
Midway
this.
one is the most popular.
Okay.
The height needed to get some distance on your kicks, whilst also giving the accuracy to have your tee down low to give you that extra control, with the ability to angle it at whichever angle you prefer. But what I believe is the best kicking tee is the relatively old school cone, bitch. Bring the cone back. Get one that's nice and thin so you can.
Okay. All right, so Josh, it's good to see you. Coach Otterbeck, it's good to see you. Okay, so can you hear us, Coach?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Josh, are we good? Josh, you're on mute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, Parker, good. Me, I'm here. Okay. We've actually never tried this with a guest coach, Ollie. So thank you for taking the time to come out and do this. We will go until I get the little warning minute saying it's time to close. Park and I have been watching some classic videos. Just finished watching some the top 10 instances of a forward kicking the ball. We have not gone. We've done training about kicking, but I'm gonna let you go with what you want to do and how you want to do it. So,
Okay, well,
Ollie, it's yours.
all right. Well, I don't have a tee, so we're not going to talk about place kicking. But we'll start off with the classic grubber, right? And there's 2 instances of using a grubber, and it's just to kick the ball on the ground to get past the defender, in which you or one of your teammates would collect the ball afterwards. I have an assistant here to help me hold the camera while I demonstrate. And then let me know if you guys can't hear me.
You're okay.
All right. So doing the grubber, ball's going to be in front of you. And then when you're ready to kick it, the easiest thing to do is line the ball up with the leg you're going to kick with, whether it be the right or left, depending which leg dominant you are, or if you're ambidextrous and do the same. All you have to do is just drop the ball and kick the ball into the dirt. The biggest thing is kicking that top half of the ball, right, into this motion. So if this is my foot, I'm not getting underneath it, not hitting the fat. My foot is literally hitting the top part, forcing this portion to hit the ground first. Some things to make it a little easier is tilt the ball a little more towards you, so you'll concentrate on hitting that top half of the ball. There's 2 ways, depending on how coordinated you are. Either hit the top of your foot, the side of your foot. So if I'm hitting with the top of my foot,
So, Ollie, can you hear questions if they come to you?
I have my assistant, if they have questions, that she could relay to me.
Okay. What are your thoughts about lifting the knee up and doing a drop or a snap kick at the top of the ball as opposed to the more full-legged kick that you're demonstrating?
I think you don't have as much control of the snap. Here, just so I'm not running back and forth, I got a fence over here. So that way, so if you do a little snap kick, you'll tend to get underneath the ball first. You want a little more control with that ball. Because the control is the most important thing with the kick, right? Because you're not trying to kick it as far down the field with a grub kick. Essentially, you just want it maybe anywhere between 5 to 8 meters behind your opposition. So if I have a guy here, right?
Ollie, you've stopped recording. Stop moving. Okay, Josh, when do I use a grubber? We'll talk until Coach Otterbeck is able to get back on.
Depends on like the situation. If you kind of like, if there's a gap you want to close, but you can't quite get the ball there, you can kick. You can do a grubber.
What's the advantage of a grubber when you have okay, I'm coming towards you, I do a grubber. What are some of the advantages of using a grubber versus an up and under?
It's on the ground, so like they can't really catch it and run.
Well, what else does a grubber do that a kick? When you have a grubber. Okay,
Sorry,
Ollie, you're back.
Yeah, I had to disconnect from my Wi-Fi because I'm just far enough to where it's not where the Wi-Fi connection is really weak. So what's the question again?
Oh no, I was asking while you were taking care of it, I was asking Josh, why do we use a grubber and what's the advantage of a grub kick versus an up and under? And
So for me, it's go ahead.
I was just going to say, and he was pretty much correct. But you tend to use up and under more than you use a grubber. So what are your thoughts?
So for me, it's all about the height of the opposition, right? If I got like a tall lock or something, I tend to grub past him because it's just harder for that defender to get low. All they usually do is just put a leg out, but that takes a little coordination to stab out to prevent that grub kick to get past you. So that's why when you're at distance, you kick to either side of the defender, not directly in front of them. The only time I've ever seen that tried is the defender, instead of being in that nice defensive stance, move laterally, he's got a wider base, just getting ready to think he's just going to straight up tackle you. And that's where you like try and be a little cheeky and just kick it between the legs.
Cheeky.
Left it cheeky.
Because it's a very British term.
Cheeky.
Cheeky. Is there any questions about the grubber?
Josh, Parker? Okay. Let me ask you this, Ollie. Have you ever been able to do the classic hit the ground 3 times and bounce at waist level?
Yes. Recently, no. But I have been able to do. So we'll do it. We got a nice strip of grass here. Let's see if I can get the 3 bounce. And you'll see it on the 3rd bounce. It should bounce up. Try one more time. There it is. That was the 3rd
Almost.
bounce.
Almost.
Right with the side foot.
Coach Otterbeck,
Yes.
this portion leads to a question I always have. Many people, especially those with a soccer background, use the side of their foot. Many with football, American football, or only rugby experience, go with the tip of their toe or the top of their foot. Which is a better way?
So this brings up just to your style. Like if soccer people feel more comfortable using the side of their foot, I say use the side of your foot. Obviously, you'll see me use either or, and that's because in my mind it's depending on how I want to kick the ball.
Okay. Lads, you got any more questions for Coach Otterbeck before he goes to his next kicking tonight? Josh, you still need a haircut, dude.
So just to finish up on my thought on that, if I'm doing a kick and chase for myself with the grub, I'll tend to use the front of my foot because it's more of a head on and keep right past the defender. Usually when I use the side of my foot, it's not because I'm trying to gather the ball. It's I see space behind defenders and I have a teammate that's going to get that ball. Because with the side of my foot, I could get a better angle across. I'm not crossing my leg in front of my other one. So it's just the side of the foot, hips pointing that direction where I want to get the ball to. But yeah, but that's why I would choose there between the top of my foot or the side of my foot.
So what's your next kick there, Coach?
So we'll go with the up and under. Same premise as the grubber. You're going to line that ball in front of your dominant kicking leg. All you want to do, for me, is I use the tip of the ball on the top of my foot.
What is the advantage of using the tip as opposed to the body?
Advantage of using the tip opposed to the body of the ball.
For me, the tip, I have a little more control. If you're not a very good kicker, I mean, the body works because there's more surface area to make contact with your foot. But for me, it's also about gathering up ball. My kick like this, ball's more naturally, you know, end over end, make it easier for me to catch. Unlike this, where if it doesn't, or if it goes weird. But that's me.
Okay. Any questions about up and unders, boys? Both of you. I mean, Josh, I'm looking at 8-man. I'm looking at flanker. Unless I make you a prop, I'm not sure about that, Parker. But we're going to have to. One of the areas that we were very weak in this past, actually the past 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, is that we don't use very good tactical kicking.
Yeah.
Like when we were playing Bud Bay, they rushed us so fast. A couple up and unders behind them would have helped slow it down. That is a tactic that Coach Otterbeck brought back to the team. Was you can slow down an opposition's defense. They're coming up on you very, very fast. Do an up and under. Make them slow down. Make them have to respect you. What are the fundamentals I'm looking for, Coach, on an up and under?
So some of the fundamentals that you want to look at is proper ball handling, right? And just keep your eye on the ball. You have to trust yourself and knowing the distance you have that you may or may not take a hit depending. I mean, if you're doing up and under, you shouldn't be this close when you're doing it. You're about this far. You see the space you want to put over the defender. And again, for me, as opposed to doing a grubber against him for an up and under, I technically wouldn't try and do an up and under against somebody taller than me, maybe shorter. Because all you want to do is a nice little chip over the top, right? Gather up ball and keep moving, right? Because there is a difference. And Coach Shepard will tell you, an up and under is just a nice little chip over the top for you to gather. Now, if you want to sky the ball, they call that a Gary Owen, right?
Do you guys understand the term chip? Josh, do you understand the term chip? A chip kick?
It's just a kick. A little kick up the glove.
Sometimes old farts like myself and younger farts like Coach Otterbeck may use old rugby terms that you may not understand. I just want to make sure you understood the term chip. And he was about to go into the Gary Owen. Coach?
So just to elaborate on chip, I mean, like just to go like a chip shot in golf, right? You're not trying to blast it out of the sand trap, just trying to chip it up and get it on the green. So it's a pop kick, a chip kick. It's just a nice little kick just over the top, being able for you or one of your teammates to gather. Now, Gary Owen, right, that's where you blast it like 80 meters in the air, and it's about 15 to 20 meters down pitch. Right, and up under, you're looking maybe 8 to 10 meters to gather up the ball. By Gary Owen, you're looking at, sky high, getting somebody to get underneath it to challenge the opposition to gain territory. Most of the time when you see Super Rugby players and you see the ball, they're probably between the 22s, close to the 10s. You just see this blast of the ball. The winger put his head down, run, then look up, and then run up and try and jump and catch it. It's your classic Gary Owen. So all it is just trying to get your teammate to challenge for possession of the ball, but also so high enough that even at the professional level, they'd have a hard time, if you take environmental factors, sun, wind, whatnot, the ball could be spinning, so they don't know how to quite get underneath it. Sun, they get the sun in the eyes, so it might be blinding, and all which those environmental conditions could cause a knock on. right? So that's pretty much the difference why you'd want chip as opposed to Gary on.
Okay. Drop kick, grub kick. Did we talk about drop kicks, or did you go immediately into grub kicks, Coach?
I immediately went into grub kicks. We didn't talk about drop kicks. But before I go into drop kicks, one of the things I'll tell you is if you have a ball and you want to get better at kicking, coordination is key. One of the things I do a lot is I just take the ball, not kick it very high, get it right back to me. As I angle the ball towards me, when I kick it, it comes right back to me. Then if I feel, a little more adventurous, try to figure out the good exit, do it with my left. Right? That's the little things to do to get yourself a little more coordinated with kicking.
Now I relate to Parker about Johnny Wilkerson's would not only practice the kicking, but he would also visualize his kicks. After each session, he would visualize at least 100 goal kicks. So it's both mental as well as developing the muscle memory, as Coach Otterbeck was showing. Okay, Coach?
All right, drop kick. Right. Same premise as all other kicks. Line the ball up with the leg you want to kick with. You don't throw it down because you don't know which way the ball's going to go. If you just drop it, kick it, you'll ensure you get underneath the ball to get the height. Okay. One things you could do, get yourself ready, get that coordination. Just like I was saying, concentrating on just kick the ball towards you. All you have to do is just drop that ball. Doesn't have to go 1 million meters high or 1 million meters far. Just enough where you get that coordination. Get your timing right. So and do it on all surfaces. Because not all surfaces are the same. So the bounce may come off differently on all those different surfaces. Like bounce off a turf is a little more controlled than off grass, because grass, the field could be a little uneven, like our home pitch. So give yourself a little. I don't do this as much anymore, but see what type of bounce I get off the surface. And kick.
It looks like you use the side foot on that one also. Do you differentiate between side and top on drop kicks also?
Same as a grub kick. I know I use the side on that one, but that was to ensure that I don't accidentally kick it over the fence on that. But you don't have to have your arms straight out, nice and relaxed. You're not palming the ball, fingertips on the ball, and just watch the ball. If you ever play baseball or golf, they always say keep your eye on the ball. Same with kicking, just keep your eye on the ball and kick. Do not pull your head up. Do not pull your head up until that ball's left your foot. A lot of times your kick go askew because as soon as you kick it, your foot and your head are going at the same time, right? Your foot goes, then your head goes. You want to ensure that the ball goes in the direction you want. This goes with all aspects of kicking. Your hips will determine which way the ball goes. If I turn my hips this way, even though I'm looking this way, I kick it, guess what? The ball's going that way.
So from your experience, it's not so much the direction the foot and leg are moving, it's the direction in which the hips are facing?
Correct. Now, just like a golf swing, right? If you over-rotate, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to over-rotate your leg this way, it's going to get even more to the left, right? If I over-rotate this way, even though my hips are facing that direction, over-rotation also takes a factor in how much of a slice hook you put in that kick.
Okay, so let's see. Give me a second.
So as you're going through, as you're going gathering your thoughts, one other thing about kicking, right? Let me get the other ball a second.
Go away.
The person who taught me how to kick was our senior men's inside center, Lua. And the one thing that stuck with me that Lua taught me is
Pastor Lua.
Pastor Lua. Is where you make contact with the ball will determine how far and how high it goes. You want the ball to go far, low contact. You want the ball to go high, high contact. Now, just like anything else, you have to find, depending on what you want to do with that kick. If you're looking for height and distance, then you got to find that happy medium of where you're going to make contact with the ball to get that height to where they're not going to charge down the kick, but also the distance if you're trying to gain territory, right? But like a Gary Owen, you're not going to make contact down here, right? You're going to make contact more up here at the end of the kick. Just bring that leg up, ball will go up high.
Okay, lads, you got an expert here. Don't be shy. If you have some questions, please ask them. Parker, any questions for Coach Otterbeck?
Not right now. I'm trying to think of something.
Josh?
Not at the moment.
What,
Wait
what, I'm sorry? What are your thoughts on forwards kicking the ball?
My thoughts on forwards kicking the ball? Well, it depends on that forward. If they're smart and understand how to kick, I have no problem. If you have a forward just kicking the ball because he wants to kick the ball, then it becomes an issue. Because if you're just kicking the ball, then you haven't thought through of why you're kicking the ball, right? Because even forwards, should know why you have to kick. We're behind our 22. We're not gaining ground. We're going to kick it downfield and touch. I mean, usually you have something set up to where one of your better kickers, whether you're fly half, fullback, or even your scrum half, would just kick it away to gain that territory to alleviate that pressure you're feeling within 22. But if it's, all of a sudden you've been forced back, the ball's been put there, it's dirty ball, the only person there is a forward, but that forward knows that he doesn't have the support to take the ball in to set the ruck, to have them all, to create, stable base to kick that ball away, then by all means, if you know that I have no support to have a stable base to have that kick put away by one of our better kickers, kick the ball. But if you understand the physics, shouldn't have any problem with it. But if it's like you're panicking and you don't hear, you don't hear your support to take it in, to go down, to set the base, to set the ruck, to set the ball, or your scrum halves telling you to hold it up or anything like that, and you just panic, that's when forwards shouldn't be kicking.
Okay, we got 10 minutes left, so that's very good. I didn't know we would have that. Okay, so both Parker and Josh, sorry, I'm reading your little note here, and this is obviously your dad's iPad. Are both loose forwards.
Okay.
Both of them are very skilled. What are some considerations that, I would think that kicking should be a tool in a loose forwards kit bag. So what are some of the considerations that you would think to give to these two lads about, the considerations for a forward to kick? I mean, obviously you're not going to kick when you're in the middle of a group of people. They're too close. But maybe Josh is probably going to be an 8-man and Chad's going to be a flanker. Maybe Josh should be able to kick it from the back of a scrum. Things like that. So what are your thoughts on loose forwards kicking?
So my thoughts on loose forwards kicking, it's all about tactics and their certain skill sets. I wouldn't have a problem of a loose forward doing a grub kick, between the 10 and goal line when we're putting pressure on the defense. And because of the aggressive nature of a loose forward, that they might grub ahead and charge forward and, try and get that ball within that try zone to just dive on it instead of, picking it up and scoring it, right? So let's say this right here would be the try line. I'm a loose forward here, about just grubbing it in, seeing the ball, and then diving on it because it's in that try zone. All right? No, I'm not going to dive. You guys get hurt. But you understand what I'm saying, though, right? Because of the aggressive nature of a flanker or loose forward, there shouldn't be any hesitation to see that opportunity and take it.
Okay. What about a cross kick? Basically a modified Gary Owen, but doesn't go as far as a Gary Owen because you want your teammate to catch it on the run.
So essentially, cross kick or banana kick?
I don't know the term banana kick.
So, they know, you guys know what a banana kick is, right?
I've not heard that term.
So banana kick is the one where your 10 usually will kick it across field, but it's not exactly going at an angle. They hook it so it comes back around and gets to the winger, like a banana. So it starts here, hooks around, out in the space, catch here, and then, run and score, step another ruck, step another maul, catch it, make a couple passes. But it's essentially just there's space on the outside, right? But the defender is a little further back. So if you had flush defenders, you might want to do a cross kick across the pitch because there's space back there. But all of a sudden, classically defensive speaking, that winger's back deep covering that corner, then banana kick would be more of what you want because it'll hook back into that winger's hands. Because if that winger stays back because he's playing that defense, then the outside center has to slide in, which then you could run passes back towards the middle.
Okay, now for a banana kick, as I'm understanding it, you're actually going to get a curve in the flight of the ball. That would indicate to me that there's a spin on the ball. How do you get a spin in a kick?
So remember how we're talking about overcompensating your leg to hook or slice? It's the same premise. So if my hips are facing here, I'm going to bring my leg, around a little more to get that ball to hook.
So instead of going for a solid slam your foot on the body of the ball, you're actually trying to hit the surface so that as your foot moves against the ball, that's where it's getting your spinning motion.
Yeah, so instead of like a flat foot like this, you're more hooking your leg around, right? So instead of straight leg kick, it's a hook leg kick. Think of like doing a side kick in martial arts, right?
Okay.
So here, leg, and then you're just hooking your leg around to get that hook. Just like if you're golfing, right? You're not hitting it straight. Your arms come around, you'll hook that ball.
So, when did you become such a golfer?
When I TDY'd in San Diego and was golfing like every week, once a week for about a week straight.
Boys, do you have any questions for Coach Outerbeck on kicking? Because I have something else I'm going to ask him about. But are you done with kicking?
So I didn't want to go into place kicking because I don't have a tee, and I'm not a very good place kicker, but if you guys want to become better place kickers, there is a guy that I follow on social media, whether you're Facebook or Instagram. He goes by Rugby Bricks, and he breaks it down on everything, you know, placing the ball, foot placement, you know, how your body motion should be. You know, he talks about rodeo arm and, you know, being kick. To me, he's like one of the best guys to follow if you want to learn how to place kick really, really well.
Okay, we do have a few minutes, and I'd like you to talk about passing, if you don't mind, for the last 5 minutes of this. Because you're the one that brought Wipe the Table to the team years and years ago, as well as the elbows up for the cock. So if you can get the ball and just show them your thoughts on passing.
Okay. So just like anything, it starts with hand placement. If I'm holding the ball, I'm not palming the ball. Don't do this. Ball fingertips, right? There's space there. You have control of the ball because you don't use your hand to pass the ball. You're using your fingers. All right? When you're receiving the ball, your body's always facing where the ball's coming from. So when you catch it, your next step should be forward to open up that pass. You're looking to see where to make that pass, and your hands are just falling through. So it's just catch, follow through. All right? Now, we talked about wiping the table because our target zone for our passes are, you know, right here about the collarbone down to the waist, right? You know, it's tough if we have to catch the ball below our knees or above our heads. You know, I'd rather catch the ball below my knees than reach up, catch the ball, especially if you have defense bearing down on you. One of the things I've done, you know, because I'm perpetually learning, you know, to keep up with the modern game. So when I catch it, not only am I wiping that table, right? Notice it's just this perfect height, right where your arms are at. Is now when I make that pass, I'm looking down my arms, right? So from here, boom, my eyes are following my hands like a scope. Here, because my eyes and my arms are going for the target I'm looking for, which is my teammate with his hands out, calling for the ball.
Okay, Coach Otterbeck, we have 1 minute left, so I need to say a couple words, but thank you very much for coming up. Are you available for other sessions if we need them?
Yeah, just let me know ahead of time. Let me check my schedule, and I'll help out any way as possible.
Okay, we can continue this until basically no one shows up no one shows up, and then, you know, we'll figure it out from there. Parker, Josh, what would you like the next session to be? Or do you want to keep doing a little more on kicking?
Have we done anything about like tackling or something like that? Or
We've done tackling already. We've had, well, it's part of the contact. We've done ball handling. We're kicking, but we can always go back to anything. There's just too much rugby. So if there's something that you want to talk, even the laws, variations of the laws, how we play rugby as a club. What do you think, Parker? You've been here since day one. What do you think the next subject could be?
We could spend a little more time on kicking. Just one more meeting.
Okay, so we'll have another session.